Hi friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Saurabh Chabra and I'm very excited to bring a new video for you guys. So if you really find this useful, please like, share and comment and do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the bell icon. You will be notified with the new videos. So let's just get started. So we would be discussing about a very, kind of a very interesting topic where I would be configuring the Azure Monitor for my ASR replication that would be happening from my primary region to my secondary region. And that for matter, we can configure it for the ASR, which would be used for the on-prem VMs as well, which we're going to be migrated, right? So I would be showing you the configuration in terms of Azure to Azure migrations, but it would be just a matter of changes that can happen at the query level, where you can just change a little bit of query, and you can use the same alerts for your on-prem VMs as well that are replicating through the ASR. So I've done a couple of things where I've created a VM. I've created a okay. Let me just show you what the things I've done, and then let's just get it there. So I have a VM which is SOBPA Win App 001. Okay, so I've already configured a DR. It's already been set up. The ASR is set up, and this particular VM is getting replicated. Let me just show it to you. So we go into the RSV, and I can show you that. My VM was created in East US 1. Let me just show you. Okay, so this is the VM, and it is running in East US 2, and it's under resource group SOAR migration RG. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a separate. I've already created an ASR, and this server is getting replicated to the DR location. Okay, so I'll just show you where I have set it up. So we created an RSV and we have replicated this, right? So it has already been replicated. I have not done the test failover currently. I've just initiated the replication, and it is already protected. And if I go into it, and I could see that I am getting the restore points, right? So we have configured this VM as a replication. So what we need to do is, I mean, there would be multiple VMs, right? There wouldn't be any one VM in the primary data center. It would be multiple VMs which are replicating to the DR. So there can be a scenario where the customer wants us to monitor this, right? If monitor this, basically they want to understand if there's, they want to get an alert if the replication status is not protected and it is in critical state, and somewhere down the line they want it to be monitored. And this can only be monitored through Azure Monitor. I don't find any other tool which is a third party tool which can actually go into this kind of details to check out the replication status. So it would be interesting to understand how we can configure log analytics and Azure Monitor to get this kind of status alerts, right? So currently I've just shown you that we have a VM which is being replicated to the DR site, right? So what we need to do next is we need to go into the diagnostic settings, because we need to check the status of this. And first of all, let me just show you that this particular ASR is being created at the DR level, right? At the West US, right? I'll just show you. So this is at the West US. Okay. I showed you that the VM is in East US too, but the ASR would be created at the West US. That would be the DR side, right? So keep remember that, because if the primary data center is down, you want your ASR to be running in the secondary data center, which would be the DR in this case, right? So yeah, let's just go there. The next thing we want to do is we need to, I have already created a log analytics. Let me just show you for this particular DR, which is ASR log analytics. So we would be using this particular log analytics to get the logs out of the ASR replication data, right? So we'd be configuring that. But before that, I just wanted to show you again that it would be the location would be West US. We don't want the analytics to be in the East US because that would be the primary data center, right? So let's just go back. Going back to the recovery service vault. So what we need to do next is we need to go into the diagnostic settings, and then what we need to do is we need to click on add, and then we want to want to understand what kind of data we want to send to log analytics. In my previous video, I've showed you how you can transfer your data, move your data to into the log analytics, into the storage account, into a event hub for third-party vendor, or you can send to a partner solution, right? So when I say third-party hub, I mean third-party vendor, you can export your logs, and then if the vendor has the feature to read that, and then you can configure alerts on that, you can do it. But the best way is to send it to a log analytics, use Azure Monitor to monitor this particular the replication state itself. So what we need to do is we need to select, first of all, we need to give the name, right? And then we need to select send log analytics to send to log analytics workspace. We need to select our particular log analytic workspace, and then we need to click on Azure Diagnostics because we want to send this data. The next thing that we need to do is we need to select what kind of data are we sending, right? So currently we are only sending the recovery site recovery, right? We are not talking about the backup as of now. Also, Microsoft do recommend to use separate diagnostic settings for site recovery and for backup. If you read this particular line, it says you need to create a separate diagnostic settings for Azure backup and Azure site recovery events to prevent potential data loss. Right. So this is also recommended by Microsoft to use a separate diagnostic settings for backup as well as for the site recovery. So we will be doing currently we are only configuring for uh, site recovery. So this is one of the points that you should keep in mind. And the other thing is we need to select what kind of data we need to send to the log analytics, right? So we need to send all the site recovery data, right? If you want to configure all of it, right? If you only want to if you only want to monitor the replication status, then you can send only the replication stats, replicated items. You don't have to select site recovery events. You don't have to select data upload rate or protected data churn. You can only select these three. So, but yeah, I do select everything because it would be easier for me to select and create the new alerts, right? So if you want to create more than one alerts, I mean, the type of alert that you want, I would be showing you right now would be uh, the site recovery replication status, but you can always create an administrative activity log alerts and the data churn alerts. So there are different kind of alerts that you can configure for the Azure site recovery protection, right? So for that, you need to select all these, and then you can configure the alerts on top of that. So this is what we are doing right now, is just to send the logs to the log analytics, right? And then once this is done, we click on save, and that it would be saved. I've already saved it, so I'll just show you. Uh, so this is the settings that I've already saved. I'll show you that what all I think I've done. So again, I selected send to log analytics, Azure diagnostic logs, and I've selected all this, and I have selected metrics as health as well, right? So this is what I have done till now. What I have done, I'm again want to reiterate. I have created diagnostic settings. My logs are getting into the log analytics, and my VMs are replicating. So the next part would be to check if I'm getting the logs, right? So I'll go back to the log analytic workspace and see if I'm really getting the logs, right? So let me go here. Yeah. So just to check if I'm getting the logs, let me run a query. About this query, I'll show you where to find, and we can use the cursor query to understand how and where to get the logs from. So you could see that current is less than 0. So I'm getting the I mean, it is not critical. The status is not critical, right? The replication is going on, and we have a protected VM. So this is where we need to configure the alert on, right? So I'm just showing you that yes, we do are getting the records, right? So let me just go back and configure Azure Monitor now, right? So monitor. So this is where we are going, and let's go into alert. First of all, for creating any sort of an alert, we need to create an action group, right? I have already created one of the action group for my previous video. So let me just show you what I did earlier. So it's like we select the basic subscriptions, the resource group, the name of the action group, the display name, and then what we did was we selected email, SMS, push, and voice, right? So we have selected the email and subscription and email. So what it'll do is it'll just send an email for the alert, right? If you want to do anything else, what we can do is I'll click on the email and I'll show you the other things that we can do, right? We can send an SMS, we can send a voice, and we can send us an email or any Azure mobile app notification, right? So these are the things that we can push to. So this is where we select the action group. Okay, I'm just gonna delete the one that I've just updated, and yep. Let me just see what all the other things that we can do. Resource manager role, select the resource contributor or whatever, and enable the common alert schema, right? So this is where we can enable a common alert, and it will not do anything else. It will just alert you on the portal itself. So this is where we create the action groups, and once we have the action groups, let me just go back. Yeah, this is the same action group. Yeah. So once we have the action group, we would be creating a alert rule, right? For getting the alert group, there are three stages. First of all, we need to select the scope. Second, we need to select the condition on which your resource would be assessed. And third would be the action, right? The action would be the part where once the alert is generated, we would be telling Azure to what action that it would be taken. Remember, we have just shown you the action groups, right? So we would be selecting the action group, and then we would be telling Azure Monitor to what needs to be done once the alert is triggered, right? So first of all, let me just select the resource there, and we are going to select the ASR. Let me select all. So this is not the ASR, we will be select, okay, yeah, the ASR DR01. So I have just selected that. We click on done. So what we have done is we have selected the scope. Okay, the second thing we would be doing is we would be setting up the condition, right? So condition can be anything, right? A condition can be an activity log, as I told you, where it is giving an option to select the all administrative options, export jobs, validate operations on protected items. So this is create vault, delete vault. So these are the basic activity logs selection that we can do. But right now we are gonna do a custom log search. But because what we are gonna do is we're gonna select this and put on here, right? So this is where we are selecting our resource replication data, right? So we're gonna run this, and to understand that we are getting the logs, right? So yeah, so this is more than one, and I'll just save it, click on edit. Yeah, and I'm just gonna select the next course of action, right? So what we have done is we have selected the scope, we have selected the condition, And now we need to tell Azure Monitor that what would be the alert logic, right? So alert logic would be not greater than, it would be greater than or equal to 1, right? So we will select 1, and this is where it will ask us to select the frequency of evaluation. So I don't want the evaluation to be done more than 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, right? So I want it to be 5 minutes, or you can select 10 or 15 minutes if you want, right? Let me select 5 minutes and it would be easier. So and it is giving you the cost estimation as well. So it would be taking 1.5 USD, right? So yeah, so this is where we would be selecting this. And this is just a preview for that. But what I'll do is I'll click on next, right? And I'll just, now this is where it is asking you to select an action group, or you can create a one, right? So we would be selecting one. We have already have added the action group. I want to create a new one just to show you how we do that, right? Let me just show you how we do that. SR action group 1 AG01. That would be display name, notification. So what would be the notification thing, right? So notification can be an SMS or an email, a voice. So this is where we can select. I'll just give my option there. Okay. This is where it will be sending an email. Enable common alert schema. We can enable it, or we can say no. We can say no and select OK. So this would be creating it. We would needing the name of it. This is how an action alert can be created, right? And now what would be the action type, right? An action type is the thing that you would be sending an email, but where this email would be going, and is there any action that you want it to happen. But so usually what we do is we have a ticketing tool, right? We have a ticketing tool where the alert goes to, and from there the alert is monitored, and we usually have a monitoring team enabled. So what we usually do is we click on webhook, and it will give you a URI, and we're gonna send. We will be getting this URI from the monitoring team, or from the Snow team or the Moonsoft team. And once we add this particular URL, it would be sending an alert to them, right? And from there they can take it forward, and they can configure the ticketing, right? So this is where it's done. But what I'll do is you can select ITSM as well, right? So ITSM ticket would be created. You can have the connection to it, and there are many options to create and the ticketing tools, right? So currently I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna, you can use Azure Functions. You can have Event Hub. You can have Automation Runbook, Secure Webhook. So whatever you want, you can select, and this is where you can enable it, right? I'll go previous, and I'll just go notification. I would be setting this up. Yep, actions, tags, and review. So this is where I know that it is giving the error message, but it is because of the action group that I have selected. I can go back and select the already created action group. So this is how we create an alert, right? And we can see uh, the logic behind the Azure Log Analytics, right? So I'll just show you. So this is where I have run this command, the query, right? And this is where it is saying that it's normal, it's 100%. The count is 1. It's 100% showing normal, because we already have the data, right? It's already the replication status is already 100%, right? It's already protected. So let me just go back. So once we configured this particular data, whenever the status goes to critical, it'll send an alert, right? So that is the idea of this particular Azure monitoring, right? So feel free, if you have any questions, you can send me a mail or you can comment. I'll be happy to respond. Thank you very much.